Hey everyone, welcome back to the OrtoTech garage. My name is Keith. Today I've got with me this awesome 2016 Mercedes AMG S65. It is the twin turbo V12 edition. It's got all the bells and whistles on it. The only thing this car didn't come with out of the factory were the carbon ceramic brakes on it. We're about to hook this car up with the performance package that it should have had from the factory, and we're going to show you all the steps to it as we go. Let's get right into it. All right, before we get this car up on the rack and start working on it, we want to put the rear calipers in service mode. It has electronic parking brake that activates electronic motors in the rear calipers. This extends the pistons out and pushes the pads against the rotor. If we don't put it in service mode first, it won't come apart properly, and when we're done, we'll have to take it out of service mode. We've got the vehicle up on the rack, and there is a special tool I wanted to mention on here that this is used to take the center caps off the wheel. Let's go ahead and do that. It's German, good and tight. All right, let's remove this caliper. We're just gonna hang this off to the side for a couple of minutes. Okay, beauty. Now that we've got the caliper removed, hung out of the way, the brake rotor is off, and we're going to remove these 3 E10 inverted Torx bolts. I'm going to take this back and plate off. We'll be putting on the new backing plates. Good. Now that we've got the new backing plate on, we're going to install the new carbon ceramic brake rotor. These are pretty awesome, and I should say these are much lighter than the cast iron units that came off of there. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove this brake line here. We're going to want to work pretty quick. Try not to drain all the fluid that's in this master cylinder out completely. It'll save us some trouble bleeding the brakes. Okay. Let that drip in a bucket. And then we're going to remove this caliper completely. Here's our new caliper. It's pre-loaded with brake pads. And then it's also come with this brake hose. We're going to use this one that came with this caliper and the bracket that attaches to the back. We're going to fish this one through. One through. All right. I'm going to reconnect this. We're just going to put this line back in, stop it bleeding. All right, we've got these bolts started. We'll run them in a bit. Okay, we're going to reconnect this sensor. This is the new sensor. There's one for the inboard pad, which we're putting on now, and one for the outboard pad. All right. We're going to torque these bolts. That's 150 Newton meters, or about 110 foot-pounds. And then these call for a second stage, 45 degrees. Now, if you have a torque angle gauge, that would be the best way. Or you can just split your 90 degrees in half. I think that's plenty tight enough. Sure don't give you a lot of room. All right, here we go. And there you have it, guys. We've tightened up the brake line. We just need to do the other side and then bleed the brakes out, and the front will be done. We're going to wrap up the other side real quick, then move to the back, show you a little of that, and when we're done, we'll go through the brake bleeding procedure. I've just disconnected the brake pad wear sensor. I'm removing the sensor bracket harness from the caliper. We're going to disconnect the electronics on the caliper. I'll loosen this brake line up back here, the brake hose. A couple caliper bolts. There's the brake pad wear sensor, inboard and outboard pads. That's nice. You can get it out with a finger, only on the last half a thread. That's what it looks like without the brake rotor. I'm going to grab the new carbon ceramic rotor and pop that on there and reassemble this thing. You guys wouldn't believe how ridiculously light these things are. Bolts are in there, they wouldn't come out. 2 hours later. German engineering. The threads are so tight, you'll never put them in by hand. They've engineered them to perfection. No Loctite needed. This bolt is only 3 inches long. No big deal. When they come up with the torque wrench, that's actually a wrench. That would work on here. Okay. And then, why not get it on afterwards? Okay. That one fit much nicer. All right, I'm just reinstalling everything here on this caliper, plugging the electrical connector back in to the motor back here. We're reinstalling the harness for the brake pad wear sensor. Now that I've got everything put back together, I'm just taking this brake hose off completely off the old caliper. Try to minimize my fluid loss here. Clean that up, and then we're just going to swap brake hoses while we're right here. So important here that we bleed these brakes properly. What I like to do before we start the bleeding process, I'm going to pull these little rubber caps off, crack these bleeder open one at a time, let them gravity bleed a little bit after I check the fluid level, of course, and we'll see if we can get these things to drip just a tiny bit, hopefully not enough to make a mess anywhere, and then we'll start the bleeding process. Underneath this cover, there's 4 clips, and this cover will come off in order to access the brake fluid reservoir. While we gravity bleed, we'll want to leave this open for just a minute and let some fluid drip down into these rear calipers before we begin bleeding. By leaving the cap open, that'll allow atmospheric pressure into the reservoir here, which will allow this fluid to bleed by gravity. You always want to use brake fluid from a sealed container. We're going to go ahead and open this up. Just fill that to the maximum. Let's move to another wheel. Guess you just got to feel for it.
That's
Get a little extra snug here. A little bit more than hand tight. Close. All right, we're wrapping up this job here. We've got all these new carbon ceramic brake parts on there, oversized brake rotors, new calipers. We went back in, bled the whole system. We've activated our parking brake assemblies in the back electronically, taken them out of service mode, and we torqued all the wheels up. And before we walk away and I give you the final reveal, I just wanted to thank you for watching the video. I hope you like and subscribe. Got more cool projects coming to you in the future. Thanks for watching. All right, guys, there's the final project. Got those nice oversized brake rotors, oversized calipers, carbon fiber. Everything's looking good. Give you a peek in the rear here. And that's all that's left is fire this thing up and give her a road test.